This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on The South Today, the Education Minister says New Zealand's 16 polytechnics are to merge midway through 2020. Otago Polytechnic is distilling future brewing stars at the Cromwell campus. And a series of murals around Dunedin are all inspired by stuffed creatures at Otago Museum's Animal Attic. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Melissa Barton. Education Minister Chris Hipkins announces today New Zealand's 16 polytechnics will be merged into one national campus as part of vocational education reforms. The merger idea has been vehemently opposed by both the Southland Institute of Technology and Otago Polytechnic since being proposed earlier this year. But not everyone's opposed to the move.
Taking it all in, Clutha District Mayor Brian Cadogan with staff from Telford Farm Institute listening to the announcement from Education Minister Chris Hipkins about the school's future today.
The general consensus is, OK, we're living to fight another day, and that's something to celebrate.
Telford's just one of 16 polytechnics set to be merged into one national campus as part of vocational education reforms. Cadogan says they're well placed to take advantage of any changes.
Definitely the message that came through is we're here next year, which is a step forward. We're in and swinging. And the underlying sentiment was that this was an opportunity to grow.
The polytechnic sector has been under pressure in recent years, with several institutions recording deficits and falling roles, while some industries have claimed not enough students are being trained in their fields. Otago Polytechnic and the Southern Institute of Technology have bucked that trend with high roles and a profitable business model. They wanted to retain their autonomy, but those in Otago at least appear to have accepted change is inevitable.
There's going to be some real growth in some areas, and I think that the intention still seems to be that regions or areas of strength will remain to have some autonomy, and so I'm really pleased to hear that.
But it wasn't such a positive reaction in Southland.
Hugely disappointed for SIT and the Southland community, but we'll let the Southland community speak on that. We need to keep focused on our staff and our students.
Invercargill Mayor Tim Shadbolt says they'll fight the decision.
I believe our community will be outraged by this proposal, and we'll be doing everything we possibly can to stop it in its tracks.
The new institute will start in April next year, although transition to the new system could take 3 to 4 years to ensure continuity for students and employers. The South Today.
Search and rescue personnel are on standby after an avalanche in the Remarkables mountain range near Queenstown. Police say they received a call about an avalanche near the Remarkables ski field just before 2 p.m. The Remarkables ski area manager, Ross Lawrence, says there's been an avalanche at the area known as the Scarpa Run outside the ski field. He says ski patrol staff searched the area and believe no one has been caught in the avalanche. The New Zealand Avalanche Advisory says the Queenstown area is currently at level 3, which means considerable risk. Otago Polytechnic is creating the brewing stars of the future at their dedicated operation in Cromwell. The purpose-built facility is teaching a group of budding brewers just what it takes to develop a top-notch craft beer.
Tasting the fruits of his labour and his studies, Otago Brew School student Ryan Gordon sampling his latest porter as part of a year-long course at Otago Polytechnic's purpose-built facility in Cromwell.
Everything from start to finish. I came into this pretty green, like I'd done a little bit of home brewing, but nothing that sort of I spent time learning, so pretty much from start to finish.
The course is designed to help budding brewers learn just what it takes to develop a top-notch craft beer. Operations manager Ben Middlemiss says as well as being a training brewery, it's also a commercial operation able to produce between 500 to 1,000 litres per brew day.
And it also gives us the chance to teach the students the correct way to brew each known and accepted style of beer before they edge out and try to start being more creative in their own right. So at least they have the thorough grounding in how beers in each style should be produced.
Students learn about raw materials, brewing processes, engineering and brewing equipment, plus the legislative and regulatory requirements as well.
The basics of making beer remain pretty much the same. Your raw materials don't change a lot, but an awful lot of brewers are playing around with all sorts of other bits and pieces to try and put their own spin on a beer and try and create a niche for themselves.
He says having an operating brewery as part of the cause is crucial.
The classroom can get a bit dry at times, so I think the students really enjoy getting out and doing the hands-on stuff.
The brewery was launched late last year as Rough Rock Brewing Company, but is set to be officially rebranded under the label Otago Brew School, with the finished products available in local bars and restaurants in Cromwell, the South today.
Queenstown will be among the first places to get 5G when Vodafone New Zealand rolls out the new network in December. Vodafone New Zealand's new owners have officially taken control today, promising a more nimble operation while still having access to Vodafone's technology and global roaming. The new owners have hit the ground running, announcing the 5G network launch in Queenstown and main centres Auckland, Wellington and Christchurch in December. Nokia Networks will be its technology partner, with more than 120 cell sites set to be upgraded to 5G. It seems as if some of the stuffed creatures from the Otago Museum's animal attic have escaped and ended up in a mural on a Dunedin street. A wall along Highgate now has a mural featuring animals from the museum's Victorian-style display, thanks to local artist Bruce Mahowski.
A new mural gracing a wall along Dunedin's Highgate. Local writer, illustrator and mural artist Bruce Mahowski, seen here holding a stuffed rook, has created these 9 animal artworks to share his fondness of the stuffed specimens found at Otago Museum's animal attic. His love for the attic started as an interest in exotic animals as a young boy.
When I was a kid, Dunedin didn't have a zoo, so I used to go and hang out down there and sort of imagine it was a zoo. And I just always loved the place, and I think a lot of other people love it too, particularly artists.
Mahowski runs a museum of natural mystery from his home in Royal Terrace, which attracts visitors who he thinks would also enjoy Animal Attic.
I even get people coming to my own little museum, the Museum of Natural Mysteries, who haven't seen it yet. They've been down there and they missed it, so I send them back down there saying you have to see the Animal Attic. There's nothing like it.
The wildlife featured in the new mural includes a dik-dik antelope and a common teneric, plus a menagerie of other beasts.
Around the corner we've got a paper nautilus, we've got a couple of ring-tailed lemurs, we've got porcupine fish, we've got a giant anteater, you've got to have one of them, we've got a secretary bird.
Mahowski says he's hoping to paint another 50 murals around the city. The Otago Museum says it's fantastic he's raising awareness about the attic. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today, we delve into world politics with this week's Global Insight, so catch you after the break.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
At Alex Campbell Menswear, we bring you the best value. We have bought a massive selection of moleskins and we're passing on the savings to you. Buy one pair, save $25. Buy two, save $60, and we've got a great deal on our knitwear. Look at it all. 25% off all our knitwear. And to go with the knitwear, what about a nice warm shirt? These are 25% off too. And while we're doing the 25% off, what about on the jackets? 25% off them as well.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
So check us out for massive savings this winter.
Step into Shop on Carol and discover a shop full of treasures. We have a fantastic range of vintage and retro clothes, upmarket clothing labels, collectible items, beautiful jewellery, quality linen and the best range of vintage haberdashery.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole Map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
You've seen us in the street, now find us online. Check out shopon.org.nz. We have all sorts of treasures, from retro and vintage clothing to antiques, homewares and accessories. New items added every week. We're open 24/7.
Step into Ross Cafe, located at Ross Home in North East Valley. We have a great range of hot and cold food, friendly service and a warm atmosphere that you are sure to enjoy. We look forward to serving you soon at Ross Cafe.
If you're suffering from sciatica, lower back pain, hips and pelvis and knees, this technique will work wonders for you. The energy flow is transmitting through the muscles. Come and see Sunny Chin.
Step into Op Shop on St Andrew and discover a place with plenty of bargains for yourself, your friends and the whole family. We have new items arriving every day. Visit us for a fabulous range of economy and upmarket clothing, accessories, books, shoes and more. Shop with us and support your community.
Welcome back. Otago University International Relations expert Professor Robert Patman says New Zealand is increasing its involvement with the South Pacific in order to counter a growing Chinese presence in our backyard. In the latest edition of Global Insight, Professor Patman tells ODT features writer Bruce Munro the country is also trying to avoid being seen as part of a pro-Western alliance against China.
China is making its presence felt in our neighbourhood, the South Pacific, and this is making some countries nervous. Welcome, Robert.
Good day, Bruce.
What is it that China is doing, and what is it trying to achieve?
I think China has become economically and increasingly militarily involved in the South Pacific, which has caught the attention of both Australia and New Zealand. Australia and New Zealand traditionally viewed the South Pacific as their backyard. And I think this has caused some concern, particularly the level of financial involvement in places like Tonga and Fiji. And now there is speculation. We have leading Australian scholars like Hugh White speculating that China could be on the verge of establishing a military base in the South Pacific.
And so how is Australia responding to this?
The traditional response has been to look to the United States on the part of Australia and other allies such as New Zealand to try to exclude countries which seem to be threatening influence in the region, such as China. But I think there's a recognition that China is a superpower. It cannot be easily contained or excluded. And so, what is plan B? If you can't prevent China from building links with the states of the South Pacific, what can you do? And Hugh White, for one, he's made the point that, in fact, Australia should seriously consider looking at developing its own military presence, along with New Zealand, in the region, and not try and exclude China because the costs of doing so, he said, will be prohibitive.
And is that the direction that you think Australia will go? Is that the direction they are looking?
I think Australia will continue to look to the United States to counter Chinese influence, along with any possible arrangement Australia and New Zealand can make. Australia is pushing for a closer strategic alliance with New Zealand in the South Pacific, but our position is slightly different from Australia. We do not have the same view of the world as Australia when it comes to strategic concerns. And in a sense, if you think about it, our relationship with the United States is not quite the same as Australia's relationship with the United States. And I think we're anxious to preserve the appearance and the substance of being an independent foreign policy player, because from our point of view, we have not just deep interest in the Pacific. The government has undergone a Pacific reset, spending a lot more money, in excess of 700 million New Zealand dollars, to boost investment in the region, so we're taking it very seriously. But I don't think the New Zealand government sees any contradiction between what it calls its Pacific reset, but also being seen as maintaining a credibly independent foreign policy, which is seen by many Asian states as qualitatively different from Australia's relationship with the United States.
Are we just hiding behind Australia's skirts? Should we be doing more?
I think we are doing more, and I think the government is doing more. One thing is clear, after the Huawei controversy, I think New Zealand is looking at China in quite a clear-eyed, hard-headed fashion now. So I think part of the Pacific reset is to counter the Chinese presence, but do so in a way which is not seen as lining up in a sort of pro-Western alliance against China as a rising power.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. Catch us next time on Global Insight. Ka kite anō.
After the break on The South Today, we look at a series of light and sound events with a connection to New Zealand 1980s music, and we check out what winter weather is in store as you make plans for the weekend, so stay with us.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality, stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
Step into Op Shop on St Andrew and discover a place with plenty of bargains for yourself, your friends and the whole family. For a fabulous range of economy and upmarket clothing, accessories, books, shoes and more. Shop with us and support your community.
Step into Ross Cafe, located at Ross Home in North East Valley. We have a great range of hot and cold food, friendly service and a warm atmosphere that you are sure to enjoy. We look forward to serving you soon at Ross Cafe.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
At Alex Campbell Menswear, we bring you the best value. We have bought a massive selection of moleskins, and we're passing on the savings to you. Buy one pair, save $25. Buy two, save $60, and we've got a great deal on our knitwear. Look at it all, 25% off all our knitwear. And to go with the knitwear, what about a nice warm shirt? These are 25% off too. And while we're doing the 25% off, what about on the jackets? 25% off them as well.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
So check us out for massive savings this winter.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole Map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Step into Shop on Cal and discover a shop full of treasures. We have a fantastic range of vintage and retro clothes, upmarket clothing labels, collectible items, beautiful jewellery, quality linen and the best range of vintage haberdashery.
If you're suffering from sciatica, lower back pain, hips and pelvis and knees, This technique will work wonders for you. The energy flow is transmitting through the muscles. Come and see Sunny Chin.
You've seen us in the street, now find us online. Check out shopon.org.nz. We have all sorts of treasures, from retro and vintage clothing to antiques, homewares and accessories. New items added every week. We're open 24/7.
Thanks for staying with us. Otago will be without Josh Ioane for its next Ranfurly Shield defence. The first 5/8 is set to travel to Perth with the All Blacks as part of a non-playing squad member for the Bledisloe Cup match on August the 17th. He will remain with the team for the return game the following week at Eden Park. Ioane's been with the All Blacks during their first 2 rugby championship matches, but hasn't taken the field. While not included in the latest All Blacks squad, the selectors have decided to keep him involved as injury cover. Nocturnal Projections were an influential post-punk New Zealand band from the early 1980s. Dunedin artist Kath Cocker asked former members if she could use their name for a second series of light and sound events held in Dunedin over the past month.
Experiments in sound and vision. In the back room of Dunedin's Gasworks Museum, strange sounds are being broadcast through water. To the untrained eye, it can look like a brand new concept. But artist and Nocturnal Projections coordinator Kath Cocker says it comes from a style of art she's studied for years.
The whole idea of cymatics came from Hans Jenny, who was a guy that he died in 1973. And he did a whole lot of stuff where he was putting sound through matter, and he was creating like all these different creatures. Like he was actually creating spider shapes and stuff like that. It was quite amazing. He did it through corn syrup and iron filings. And before Hans Jenny was Chladni, Ernst Chladni, and he did it in the 1700s with a fiddle bow down an iron plate with iron filings on it.
Cocker's work at the Gasworks is one of many around the city in a month-long series of projects. She says different sounds are being projected into the water from below the containers.
The white tray is just a sine wave going through a tray of water, and the closest one is the sound of the wind, which is like the whole nature thing.
The name Nocturnal Projections is borrowed with permission from a New Zealand post-punk band from the early 1980s. Events were held around Dunedin for most of July, and Cocker is thankful for funding from the Dunedin City Council and Creative Communities schemes, among a host of others.
And also Bendigo Trust, Puaka Matariki, they funded us, New Zealand Graduate Women's, Otago, and Countdown Anderson's Bay.
Where many of the city's buildings have artworks projected on them, Cocker says she chose the Gasworks Museum for personal reasons.
And this room is the Andersons' room, which my ancestors were Andersons in Dunedin, so it was kind of fitting.
Nocturnal Projections events wrapped up this week, and Cocker says she has bigger and brighter plans for future events. In Dunedin, the South Today.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. The Education Minister says New Zealand's 16 polytechnics are to merge by midway through next year, among a raft of sweeping changes. Drinking to their future, Otago Polytechnic is distilling a new batch of brewing stars at the Cromwell campus, many set to taste success in the industry. And a series of murals around Dunedin are all inspired by stuffed creatures at Otago Museum's Animal Attic, as artist Bruce Mahowski leaves his mark on many walls. And now look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. Welcome Hayden Meikle, what have you got for us in tomorrow's ODT?
Good evening, Mel. Well, obviously the big news of the day is the Polytechnic. Massive news. It's been a long campaign down here. The government confirming it's going to look at the centralised model. But there is good news, and I guess that's the angle for us to latch onto tomorrow. The government saying that institutions will get a 2-year grace period to prove that they should retain some autonomy. And so I think from Otago's point of view, from SIT's point of view, that's something to look at and try to take some positivity out of this announcement. So all of the reaction, all of the discussion, all of the analysis in tomorrow, that's a big story. The other interesting one is Queenstown getting 5G and not Dunedin. So we have a bit of a look tomorrow on what 5G is. Obviously on the surface we understand it probably means faster internet access and all those sorts of things, but why is Queenstown getting it? Why isn't Dunedin or Invercargill getting it? What does it mean? And all those things. Weather. We love a good weather story, and we're promised, finally, a weather bomb is coming. Apparently, a weather bomb is coming. It'll be wind mainly, and in central Otago mainly. So hopefully we'll dodge it now. We haven't had too many bombs this winter.
I don't know, it's been cold enough today.
It's been a little bit fresh, but it's going to get colder, especially in central. And we've got a nice yarn with Ollie Olsen. Now, people of our age, Mel, of course, remember the great Ollie Olsen, keep cool till after school. Ollie lives in Dunedin now. He's an interesting man, and he's talking about his wish that Dunedin could become a city of peace, which is quite lovely. So read tomorrow's ODT to find out more about exactly what that means.
Wonderful. So there's something for everyone tomorrow. And now it's time for a look at tomorrow's weather. Beginning with today's southern view, the effect of loud low-frequency sound on water. Looking at the situation, it's perfect weather for penguins tomorrow as it's set to be as wintry as it gets, with southwesterly winds near gale force, snow flurries to low levels later in the day and bitterly cold temperatures. Starting off at the northwest of the South Island, Greymouth and Westport can expect a rainy day and 9 degrees. Across to the northeast, Nelson and Blenheim are also due for a showery day with a high of 11 degrees. Moving down to Canterbury, there's set to be grey sky and 11 degrees for Kaikoura, Christchurch and Ashburton. Looking at what's in store for the southern towns, Balclutha, Lumsden, the Catlins and Gore can all expect southwesterly gales and wintry showers. Catlins will be the warmest on 7, Balclutha you're close on 6, while Lumsden and Gore will only reach 5 degrees. Travelling westward to the Central Lakes, Queenstown you're set to have gusty southwesterly snow showers and a high of 4. Wanaka, Alexandra and Te Anau are all due for sleet or snow and 5 degrees. Looking at the northern towns along the coast, Timaru and Oamaru can expect strong southwesterlies and 9 degrees for Timaru, 8 for Oamaru. Heading inland, Twizel and Marama, you're set to receive gusty southwesterlies, snow showers and a high of 5. And in Dunedin, cloudy with light northerlies and a low of 6. Fine tomorrow with northwesterlies, a period of rain then sleet later. You're looking at a high of 8 and a low of 6. And Saturday, it's pretty much the same with gusty cold southwesterlies, looking at a high of 9 and a low of 4. And moving to Invercargill, rain developing with strong to gale force southwesterlies, an overnight low of 5. Also looking to a high of 7 on tomorrow and a low of 4, and showers clearing on Saturday with strong cold southwesterlies, a high of 7 and a low of 4. And that's all from us on this Thursday. Have a great weekend, great night. Goodbye.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.